What's up, everyone? This is DeagleBeagle, and today we're going to be going over the top two teams in the Wide League tournament for the community gaming website that a lot of people had issues with. So I'll just go into some of those issues really quick to get it out of the way, and we'll go into the teams. So the issues people had with this site are just everything about it. See, when you click on their username, it won't show the team list. You have to go to participants. You have to search their name. You have to click view answers. Then you have to copy and paste. This doesn't even work. Or maybe it does work, actually. Okay, it works, but whatever. You have to copy paste. Not, I guess it's not a huge deal, but it's more like, it's just like everyone's like, what the heck? Like, how do you find their team? And at first, everyone had the issue too. I mean, of this website doesn't like keep refreshing. So like, someone would type something to you in the battle chat, and you wouldn't see it unless you refreshed your page manually. So we had to keep doing that to see the messages. This guy was like, why are you ignoring me? And I'm like, I'm not. I didn't see you said anything. And then sure enough, everyone's like, yeah, you have to refresh the page. What the heck? So yeah, this site is not good for gaming. And unlike Limitless, if you paste the closed team sheet, which some people did, it won't convert it into the OTS like Limitless will. So that's an issue. So this is the winner of the tournament. You can see that if you go to, not there, forget where it was. Oh yeah, winners. So Arima, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. Magic 45 VGC, Olsen, Mate, and other people. Joe UXE is a very consistent player. I entered this tournament. I didn't do very well. I want to blame it on like the bad AC in my house and stuff, but that's probably only part of the issue. But I know I played way better on Showdown than the tournament, so I'm kind of waiting until I get my AC fixed, so I can't really blame it on that. Because I should have won like almost all my rounds. I should have only maybe lost one round, but I just didn't play the best I could. Anyways, this is the winning team by Rima. And it takes advantage of things that pretty much counter the metagame. Like, you're seeing a lot of Goldango recently because people are realizing it counters the metagame. Like, it's good against Qian Pao, Dragonite, things in general. So, well, I use it. I use it on a screens team. I don't think it's quite as good necessarily on a team without screens, but it still can be. Like, Arima has, I don't know if it's a he or she, I'm just going to say he, Landorus for Intimidate support, and Rage Powder Amoongus, so you don't necessarily need screens. I could definitely see this, and some high offensive pressure with the speed control to get the threats off its back, possibly, like with Ursafu, possibly one-shotting whatever it is, Qian Pao with Terra Water Surging Strikes or Rain Dance, plus that. And yeah, Terra Ghost or Covert Cloak I think is pretty much necessary on Tornadoes, because otherwise Fake Out's just gonna really mess you up. Unless you have Protect with almost all your Pokemon and you're just willing to double Protect, but even then they could like Fake Out and set up on you. So yeah, I would use Terra Ghost or inner, or what do you call it, Covert Cloak on Tornadus, just like on Talonflame. It makes sense. And Terra Water is a great defensive Terra because Qian Pao is probably the most common thing that'll one-shot it, but also, well, it makes it a little, it makes it twice as bulky versus freeze dry. So there is that, and it's resistant to water moves. Unfortunately, freeze dry kind of counters the Terra Water Landorus T, but it can still probably wall one hit from it barely and hit back. And besides Bundle, there's not a lot of other freeze dry users. So you're mostly facing like Icicle Crash or Ice Spinner, or which Pokemon are water type attackers? Oh yeah, Urshifu. Yeah. Terra Water is really good because it walls Urshifu pretty well, and it doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. So Urshifu is by far the most common water attacker, but Pelipper and whatnot also. Okay, Choice Band. That's interesting for sure. I do agree with Earthquake because Tornadus is immune to it. In fact, uh, yeah, Stomping Tantrum's good also because of the Rillaboom, but you have the ability to use Earthquake, and that's something people probably really didn't prepare for. Is like a really strong Earthquake, and unless they have like Rillaboom or something, they're gonna struggle versus this team. And if they have Rillaboom, they're gonna be weak to Bleak Wind Storm unless they Terra, and if they Terra Fire, then they're weak to Landorus. So Terra, I mean, Choice Band Landorus seems pretty good. Yeah, with a defensive Terra like that. For mine, though, I use a Scarf one, and I use Terra Flying, and I don't even use Earthquake because there's so much Rillaboom. I just use like Terra Blast in that slot. And going back to Tornadus, I do like the Citrus Berry. That's overall a pretty good item to just in general keep it alive. And it's good versus special and physical attacks, and like Rocky Helmet. And then, yeah, pretty decent moves. Taunt, there's nothing wrong with Taunt. I almost would want to change that to like Icy Wind or something, but it's fine. I I mean, you could use it versus like Amoonguss and whatnot. I'm just surprised there's not more people running like Terra Dark Amoonguss versus stuff like that, or Mental Herb. But Taunt is fine. And that's really standard. Safety goggles. Okay, yeah, actually that's a really big brain item because you don't have to use Terra Grass and possibly be weak to all these moves or bust a Terra. You could just use safety goggles. You could go through the Amoonguss, avoid Rage Powder and Rocky Helmet and Spore, and just hit hard with these moves. So I'm gonna actually probably steal this team and try it out. Really good job on this team. Rocky Helmet with Rage Powder support is really good. Terra Water is a good defensive Terra. And Qian Pao with Icicle Crash, Sucker Punch, Sacred Sword, Protect, pretty standard with Terra Ghost. And there is possibly two other ghost types, Goldango and Terra Ghost Tornado. Well, you can only really Terra with one. So versus a fake out lead, well, the Rocky Helmet deters a fake out also, and you can always lead Landorus, switch Landorus out, and if they fake out it, they won't do much. Like, I'm not saying like just because it weakens fake out, but I mean more like it's switching out when they're using fake out. It's like you could use Landorus with say Tornadus lead, Tornadus and Terra Ghost in case they fake out that slot, and then switch out Landorus. Or you could lead Tornadus and Chien Pao, and they might not even fake out because they're not sure who's going to Terra Ghost. And Goldango with yeah. So this team has a lot of tools it needs, and it has nasty plots, so it can set up on stuff like Goodra, and the choice band with Landorus also helps versus Goodra, but Goldango also walls it and sets up on it. Some Goodras don't use Sap Sipper, so you might be able to put it to sleep. Some use Shell Armor. I don't know. Both are good. I might use Sap Sipper with it, though. Unless Amoonguss is not very common. And I think I've went over this team enough. I'm definitely going to try it out. This reminds me of my Ting Lu with Choice Band, except it might be a little better because it's faster and more powerful and has Intimidate. Okay, this is the second place team, so apparently I lost to this team. And yeah, I'm still recording. Pelipper with Damp Rock. I suppose that's fine. But if you're using Damp Rock, you're probably gonna get the most out of it if you lead it. So I imagine he would lead, Magic 45 VGC would lead Pelipper. I'm just guessing. Otherwise, you probably don't need it because it's probably not going to last more than 5 turns anyways. But it might, just to ensure you have Basculegion outspeeding them the whole game long. So I saw this same Pelipper versus the guy that I lost to. I should have played better, but he used Focus Sash instead of Damp Rock. I don't think he used Terra Ghost. I forget what it was. If it was either grass or flying. And Basculegion used the same one with, yeah, Life Orb is a good item on it. I think that's probably the most common item because it just makes sense if you're using Last Respects and Wave Crash. Hits really hard, and Terra Water to make it hit even harder and have good defensive typing. So that's probably pretty standard, and it hits really hard with Helping Hand. Helping Hand's annoying. It helps Last Respects a lot, and people were really sleeping on Basculegion. I was sleeping on it too because I think the previous team I had, it wasn't that much of an issue. I mean, even with I had Gastrodon, and with max defense, and they still could Helping Hand Last Respects after 2 things died on their team and knock it out. And then someone else used Basculegion with Revival Blessing, and apparently that counts as a possible 3rd Pokemon dead, so it could get up to 200 power, and it's crazy with Life Orb and Stab and Helping Hand. So yeah, also it doesn't, Last Respects does not take Rocky Helmet damage, so that's kind of annoying. I had Rocky Helmet, and so it must not be a contact move. Main issue with this team though is probably Hydro Pump missing. I used Pelipper. I used the Surf one with Gastrodon, so it's really good. It got the boost and whatnot, and doesn't miss. So that's one disadvantage of Hydro Pump. Probably the only disadvantage. And oh yeah, and not boosting the Storm Drain of your ally, and not hitting multiple targets like Surf does. Okay, Flutter Mane, Terra Grass, Booster Energy. I don't know if it was speed or not, but most people use special attack raising Booster Energy, but one guy did use the speed raising one versus me, so it could be speed raising, especially since it has taunt, but I don't really know. Taunt is weird though. You would think he wouldn't run Terra Grass with taunt, because you could probably taunt the Amoonguss, It could have Mental Herb or Terra Dark, but I don't know what the Terra Grass is for. I'm trying to think about it, because Terra Grass does wall Urshifu, but if he's not using Energy Ball, I'm not sure. It does wall Spore. I don't know. I think Terra Water is a better defensive Terra, but if you're worried about Spore, then maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Because Terra Grass, yeah, plus Amoonguss would mean he's double immune to Spore. I just don't know about. I'm wondering what the taunt is for. Maybe the taunt is not just for Spore, it's probably for like Trick Room and just people setting up in general. But I would like to test out taunt on Fluttermane. I just don't know if it's worth it. And standard Amoonguss. I don't think this one had protect. Oh, it did have protect. Wait, what's different about this one? Clear Smog. This one didn't have Clear Smog. I don't know if you need Clear Smog. It is good versus Dondozo. Some of them use Sub or Terra Steel anyways, so it's hard to say. Does this team beat Dondozo? It has Intimidate cycling with Terra Water. It has Amoonguss, but if it's a Terra Grass Dondozo, it is weak to Icicle Crash, and that doesn't take Rocky Helmet damage. Oh, they're all using rock. Oh yeah, maybe Icicle Crash. I forgot to mention that. Icicle Crash avoids Rocky Helmet damage, and it has more power, and it can flinch. So it might be worth using on a Sash Pokemon like Qianpao more than Ice Spinner. Yeah, it probably is worth it, because I was even using Rocky Helmet. Gastron, we're seeing a lot of Rocky Helmet recently because of Urshifu, but other reasons too. I think people like forgot about Rocky Helmet being good, and it was always good even before like Urshifu, but the multi-hit moves like Urshifu probably made everyone remember that Rocky Helmet's a good like item, and people did use it when Mouse Hold was really common with Pop Bomb, and everyone stopped using Mouse Hold and Rocky Helmet uh, after they stopped using Mouse Hold. And in fact, Mouse Hold's pretty good in general, because it was pretty good before everyone started using Rocky Helmet. And let's go over a few more things. Pretty standard other than that. It's just the fact that both used Icicle Crash. I wonder if they got that idea from Gabriel Agate, or they just came up with it on their own. They could be either one. And then Urshifu Choice Band. Yeah, see, Single Strike is pretty good because nobody really prepares for it, and it beats screens teams like my Grimmsnarl team. It has issues with. I had to use Tinkaton over Rillaboom because of Urshifu and other Pokemon, and Tinkaton was just good to wall like Reggie Drago and order up like Dondozo and stuff. But in general, Urshifu Single Strike beats the Grimmsnarl Gastrodon combo, which I was using. And Choice Band makes it really hard to wall, and crits go through screens. So having this really breaks a lot of Pokemon that would wall you otherwise. So what the winner used to break things that wall them were probably like Surging Strikes, Choice Band, set it with Goldango, Taunt, Spore, whatever, and Qianpao. And then, so kind of like Hyper Offense mixed with bulky support. Yeah, these teams are great, seems like. And this person used speed control and hyper offense. Not as much speed control as this team, but the swift swim and the sucker punch, 2 sucker punches and whatnot, and aqua jet. So mostly priority centered Well, this one is probably more tailwind centered than priority, but it has both. And there's not much to say. Terra Poison is a good Terra on Urshifu. I've seen that a lot. I'm guessing they use it because Fluttermane is the main threat to it, but it's also good versus other moves trying to kill it. So, what super affects Fighting Dark? Well, where's Fairy? Fairy, not Bug, because it's part Fighting. Fighting super affects it. Fighting, Fairy, and then what super affects the fighting part of it? Not Psychic, because it's part dark, so Flying. Flying, Fighting, and Fairy. So, Poison is good against both Fighting and Fairy, and neutral to Flying. So that's a pretty good Terra. As far as what ounce resists Fairy, you would want to for sure have a Terra that resists Fairy with Urshifu, single strike. I mean, maybe not for sure. You could use Terra Dark with it to boost it up, or something else maybe, like Terra Grass, instead of maybe Safety Goggles. But if you're trying to use a defensive Terra, either Poison, Steel, or Fire. Steel would still be weak to Fighting, so I wouldn't recommend that. And then Fire would not resist Fighting, and it would not resist Flying. So Poison, yeah, probably is the best. And it's a good complement to its Dark typing, because they probably won't Psychic it, or if they will, they'll have to risk you choosing to not Terra and be totally immune to it. So Poison makes sense for why it's probably the most common Terra, either that or Dark, for single strike. And Choice Band, at least to me, is probably the best item, because if you're trying to use this, you really want to break through things that are bulky and wall you, and it leads to a more powerful Sucker Punch, Wicked Blow, U-Turn, Close Combat, whatever you choose to use. I could have sworn it got like Ice Spin or whatever too, but U-Turn's a good move. It's a good move, especially with a choice item like Choice Band. So definitely a good team for both players. So big respect recently to Basculegion, really underrated. I think this wraps up for the video review of these two teams. Thanks for watching.